Since 2004, Iowa livestock farmers have turned to the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers for free, confidential, and expert assistance in raising livestock responsibly and successfully. Join us at the fence line to hear from industry experts and farmers about topics important to livestock agriculture here in Iowa. The fence line, where the gates always open. Welcome to another edition of The Fence Line. My name is Bob Quinn, and The Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. They are the livestock folks here in the state of Iowa. If you have questions about livestock, whether that's rules and regulations, or maybe making your manure plan, or siting in a new barn on your farm, or maybe bringing some young folks back into the operation, or even looking at things like a windbreak around the farm, the Coalition can help you out. Again, Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. You can find out more from the Coalition at supportfarmers.com. Well, today we're talking about the Beef Quality Assurance Program. It's administered and developed through the Iowa Beef Industry Council. And throughout the program today, we're going to find out more of the particulars, but basically it's a way of raising beef cattle that provides guidelines to that producer for things like for practices that ensure biological safety, transportation safety, cleanliness, and animal husbandry guidelines. Now, while this is a producer program, it's also a consumer program, as we'll find out, because if consumers see that Beef Quality Assurance Program label, they know they're getting a high-grade quality product. Let's visit with CEO of the Iowa Beef Industry Council, Mike Anderson. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Beef Quality Assurance Program. You know, it's something that the Beef Industry Council invests in and develops and works with producers about. But I said at the beginning of the show, it's more of a consumer advantage program. Now, producers may not think that, but in reality, what we're doing is being able to say, look, we have certain things that we do and steps we take in producing beef that basically ensure you have a quality and great product. Talk about the program a little bit.
Yeah, so it is. It's kind of one of those, kind of the chicken or the egg, you know, where things, in today's world might become mandatory, but BQA, it's a voluntary program that we encourage producers to get certified in. But, more and more packing plants today require that certification, whether it's on the producer side or feedlot side, and there's also a BQA transportation aspect as well. And so really that program, not only, like you said, helps producers have that certification, but to the consumer to know they're having a safe and wholesome product as well. And so we're trying to encourage as many folks that we can to get BQA certified and kind of making some changes that you'll hear about today as we go further in the program, about some improvements in the program that we're hoping to make to kind of want to have producers want to get certified, not the old have to sort of thing. So trying to get some incentives for producers to do that.
Well, I don't want to say it's the good housekeeping seal of approval that we were used to, but it's kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval, really. It lets people know that things are being done in a certain manner. So is it something that the producers have to redo every year?
It depends. It's a 3-year certification. They can recertify every year, but it is good for 3 years. And so they've got a couple of options. They can do it online. There's an online course that they can take, and that gets them certified, or they can attend a face-to-face training as well. And we've got our Iowa State University Extension livestock beef specialists that help provide those face-to-face trainings, and that's one of the things that we're hoping to improve and kind of make some improvements in that curriculum this year.
So if let's say a consumer calls you up, says, I heard you talking about that Beef Quality Assurance Program. What's it mean to me? Why should I like to see that?
Yeah, I think it just gives consumers confidence, that we're producing a good, wholesome product. As far as we're probably at least a 4th generation now where people being removed from animal production agriculture, where their food comes from. And so they really want that reassurance that they're getting a good, safe product to consume. And so that kind of gives them that assurance of that.
And you mentioned there's a transportation aspect now.
Correct. Yep. That's one of the aspects for those that transport cattle, truckers and that sort of thing, so they can get certified, that a lot of the packing plants are requiring that as well.
Mike Anderson with the Iowa Beef Industry Council. Well, as I mentioned, the Fence Line, the program you're listening to right now, is brought to you by the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Let's find out more about the coalition. Brian Waddingham with the coalition is visiting with me now on the Fence Line. Who should be getting a hold of the coalition, and how can they do that?
Anyone looking to get into the livestock or poultry industries or existing livestock and poultry farmers that are looking to grow should give us a call, and they can reach us at 800-932-2436 or find us online at supportfarmers.com.
What are some of the services that they can kind of count on?
Well, I think our top services would be siting new barns and feedlots, interpreting the rules and regulations, and enhancing best management practices like planting trees through our Green Farmstead Partner Program.
SupportFarmers.com is where you find the coalition. Thanks, Brian. We'll talk to you again coming up here. I want to get to Dan Thompson, who's on the telephone line with us right now. Just retired from Iowa State University, Iowa Beef Industry Council State Research Committee Chair. We have been talking a little bit about the Beef Quality Assurance Program, but I want to talk about some of the research that's being done to maybe enhance things that producers will be interested here in the state of Iowa. Talk a little bit about some of the research projects that are being worked on right now.
You bet. Well, thanks for having me, and it's great to be able to share. When we started out with the Beef Quality Assurance and the Iowa Beef Industry Council's research in 2017, the beef producers in the state of Iowa made a conscious effort that, hey, we wanted to stimulate research for production and health of cattle. And so the producers voted to have a voluntary checkoff. And with that voluntary checkoff, then part of the dollars that come in on that 50 cents per head are utilized to generate research at Iowa State University and surrounding universities that conduct it, such as the University of Illinois, South Dakota State.
Dan, maybe you want to just maybe back up for just a moment there, because you said when the checkoff was reinstated here in the state of Iowa. Trace a little bit of that history for us.
You bet. So the funds are made available, 50 cents per head, the Iowa State Beef Checkoff Program, that is specific just to Iowa. And it was set up so that we could do research on cattle production and beef products to assist the issues that are here in Iowa. So it's a program that's paid for by Iowa beef producers, but what's specific about it is in Iowa we have different issues than maybe they would have in Texas, or maybe they would have in other states. And so we've done studies on how to chop corn residues, right, to potentially increase cattle performance when they're grazing corn stalk. We've looked at some different things as far as marketing and timing with performance technologies here on Midwest cattle, because we have different genetics, different housing systems. So incorporating technologies such as steroid implants or beta agonists to help market a better and more high-quality carcass. We've looked at different feed supplements. We are looking right now at some research on dairy on beef cross calves. That's another type of calf that Iowa cattle feeders are feeding, and what happens with that is that the bottom 2/3 of the dairy producing cows are being crossed with beef semen. So these calves that are born, because we don't want to propagate the genetics of the bottom 2/3, we only propagate the top third of the dairy producing cows, of milk producing cows. So with that gives us a new sort of breed of calf that's coming into feed yards. So understanding how to feed them, health challenges that we might see within our housing systems, and producing the highest quality carcass is all part of things that we're trying to do with this research program.
Well, Dan, I think it's great that we can get a statewide checkoff, and like you mentioned, specifically to look at production practices here in the state of Iowa. Oddly enough, we were talking just yesterday with the dairy industry about the dairy on beef. and some of the research being conducted. So it's kind of a big deal going on right now in the cattle industry. Hey, I got about a minute left with you. I also know that you're the Doc Talk guy on TV.
I am, yes, sir. Yeah, we 13 seasons, over 600 episodes on RFD TV. You bet.
I'll bet. How about that? What are some of the things you talk about there? You get producers calling in, asking questions.
We get producers, emails, questions. We have about 9 million viewers across the United States, and it's been a blessing. I'll tell you what we do. It's kind of like the Beef Checkoff and BQA and Doc Talk all rolled into one. Basically, what we wind up doing is talking about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And if we can do that and just keep getting a little bit better every day, that's the cattlemen and beef producers, and that's what we try to highlight on Doc Talk.
Dr. Dan Thompson with us, and you're listening to The Fence Line, our program today, talking about the Iowa Beef Industry Council's Beef Quality Assurance Program. On the telephone line with us is a Iowa producer that participates. On the telephone line right now, Jim Christensen with the Iowa Beef Industry Council Board. He's a board member and a producer in Northwest Iowa. And Jim, my notes tell me that you have been participating in the Beef Quality Assurance Program a little bit, and we started the program talking about that. So kind of fly at 50,000 feet as a producer. How did you get involved with Beef Quality Assurance? Or maybe I should ask this, why did you get involved with the Beef Quality Assurance Program?
Yeah, well, Bob, thanks for having me on the show. And we really, the Beef Quality Assurance Program is and was, when we got involved initially, just a simple extension of good practices that we were already doing, and it was a verification process for us and for our employees to know that that the animal care and well-being that we were providing our animals in our feedlot were the standards that were accepted by the industry and by consumers and by the packers and by the retailers and on down the line. So we were jumping on this years and years ago, and frankly found that the BQA program, when it was initiated, simply validated many of the good management practices that we and thousands of other producers were already doing.
Well, let me ask you this, Jim, because we want to encourage lots of cattlemen to take a look at this. And, a lot of times if there is a little more work involved and some things to do, they want to know if it's worth their while. So what would you tell them if they called up and said, hey, is it worth my time and effort to do this, and what do I get out of it?
Well, what you get out of it today is market access. So what we're finding more and more as time has gone on with the Beef Quality Assurance Program is that, not only were these practices to be identified and observed, but now they are almost a requirement for certain markets. And so we have seen our packers getting pressure from the retailers and others to say, are these cattle being managed in the best way possible? Is their care and well-being foremost in everybody's mind every day? Is there documentation for that? And that's what BQA gives us. So, the short answer, Bob, is just simply market access. It's a changing world, and people are asking more questions about how their food is produced, and the beef industry is 100% ready to respond to that.
Well, Jim, I think that one of the things that the BQA program that I've come across has really been a benefit to producers and also to consumers. I mean, it's one of the few programs and one of the few things that carry from that producer level all the way down to that consumer. And so I think it's a wonderful program, and we'd like to see lots more, if not everybody, get involved with that, and they can do so by contacting the Iowa Beef Industry Council. So, again, Jim, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, thank you, and I couldn't agree with those comments more. This is beef quality assurance is simply a win-win for the producer, the consumer, for everyone involved in food production, and specifically in this case, beef production, to understand better how to, care for and the best management practices for raising our cattle. And so, yes, I couldn't agree more, but Bob, thank you.
Talking Beef Quality Assurance Program, Iowa Beef Industry Council here on the Fence Line program, brought to you by the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Let's talk now to another Iowa cattle producer. Justin Robbins is a producer in Scranton, in Greene County, past Stewardship Award winner. Justin, welcome to the big show. Tell me a little bit about your operation there in Greene County, Iowa.
Thanks for having me on. We're a diversified row crop cow-calf operation. We sell feed stock. We send bulls and heifers anywhere from Wyoming, Idaho, Oregon, down to Missouri, and then we do some farm-to-table beef sales. That has become a fun little leg of the operation, and we keep cows in, we raise corn and soybeans, and we chase our son all over the country wrestling as he's out in Oregon State now, getting through his red shirt, but we'll be back in the saddle here in another short year, I believe.
How about that? Well, Justin, you sound like you're a great guy, and got a young fellow that's doing some well things as well. I want to talk about the beef industry with you right here in the state of Iowa. It says here you're the Stewardship Award winner. What's that mean?
We were the Region 3 Environmental Stewardship Award recipient. To be honest with you, Bob, I didn't even think we were doing anything that I would consider above and beyond. I was trying to leave each acre better than how I found it. And we just started about 20 years ago. We just kept chipping away and doing little projects as we could get them done and making things better and cleaning up, some poor production timber ground that just needed some good sunlight to it, to water erosion control, and took some ground out of row crop that still would be making me more money if it was in row crop, but long term, we took it out and we put it into some rotational grazing. And I guess my wife and I, 20 years ago when we got married, almost 20 and a half, decided that every opportunity we had, we were going to try to just wake up and start something better that morning and go to bed knowing that we accomplished something. And that's where we went with it. We still, like every operator out here, we still have big old hairy dreams that we want to get to and get done, and it's just a matter of time. But we keep chipping away, and we just.
Well, Justin, I wish I had more time to visit with you, and we're going to catch up with you again. But you're doing exactly what a lot of Iowa cattlemen do and tell us. They say they don't do anything special, but bottom line is you are doing something special. That was Justin Robbins, Iowa beef producer, taking care of the land and producing high-quality beef right here in the state of Iowa. The Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, the livestock folks here. You can find out more about what the Coalition does, and also you can find out more about the Fence Line at the Coalition's website, supportfarmers.com. Let's get back to the Beef Quality Assurance Program and talk with Casey Anderson with the Iowa Beef Industry Council. Casey, I want to get right after this Beef Quality Assurance Program because you got a couple moving parts I want to ask you about. And we have been talking about it and some of the advantages to having that certification and have kind of followed that down to the consumer level. Now, let's get back up to the producer side. Mm-hmm. Why should folks be interested in participating in this, and how can they do that?
Well, Bob, it's pretty simple. We've got a lot of great producers in the state of Iowa, but the learning just never stops. So there's always an opportunity to brush up on those best management practices, and that's what this program's really here to be, is just a vehicle for continual improvement. And we know the experience and the diversification here in the state of Iowa really runs the gamut. So we try and make it a program that has a little bit of something for everyone. But the goal is to continue to always get better. And that's what the BQA program's here to do. We
want to talk a little bit about some of the different components. I'm guessing they need to contact you here at the office.
Yeah, yep. They can always get a hold of us here at the Iowa Beef Industry Council at the Cattle Industry Headquarters here in Ames. And they can also always visit our website, iabeef.org. And that's where we host the meetings meeting dates. So that's always the go-to landing page for folks if you need a quick reference point. But to your point, Bob, there are a couple different components. We've got the standard beef quality assurance certification. That's got 10 different chapters, 14 chapters actually, and that's available online. And then we've got educators here, the Iowa Beef Center beef specialists. They canvass the state delivering that material in person. So we've got the BQA component, and then we've also got BQA transportation. So that's for those farmer feeder haulers or professional drivers that are over the road transporting livestock. And that curriculum really focuses on fitness for transport, making sure that your truck and trailer are ready, considering things that may happen on your drive, how you handle those kinds of instances, breakdowns and that kind of thing to ensure animal safety, driver safety, that kind of thing. And then just here recently, we've rolled out some new programming, the continuing education credits. So one of the things that we're continually working towards is keeping the curriculum fresh, knowing that every 3 years producers are encouraged to get recertified. So we want to make sure that the next time they go in encounter the certification process, that there's new curriculum. And that feeds right back into what I mentioned before, Bob. It's about continuing to make sure that we're leveling up our game and implementing those best management practices so that we can continue to put high quality beef on the table.
So you already answered, I think, my next question. Then how often do you have to be recertified? It's every 3 years.
Yep, every 3 years.
The process is, step me through it here, give you a call, and you kind of step them through how to get
sure.
On the website and take your modules and then get certified.
Yep. So really the first decision is, do I want to get certified in person or do I want to get certified online? So once the producer makes that decision, I can walk through and help them access that online database and those modules. Or if they want to get certified in person, we can talk about who their beef extension specialist is that would be delivering that program, and then where the next closest meeting may be to their hometown proximity.
So if they were to call and say, okay, why should I do this? I mean, what's the advantage to me?
Bob, did you notice that we got some really good producers on before this? And I heard you guys talking about this.
Yep.
So, you know what? I'm just going to reiterate what they said. It's market access, really. And the Beef Checkoff has started marketing this program to our consumers, and we've got extensive consumer research. And when we dig into that consumer research, we wanted to know, how do consumers respond to this? So we've actually seen a positive uptick in consumer sentiment. When they go in, they don't know anything about BQA. We brief consumers on what BQA is. We do a survey afterwards, and we're seeing positive improvement on consumer sentiment towards BQA. So they understand that producers are doing these things to be good stewards of the livestock. And in turn, that helps provide confidence in buying beef and what producers are doing on the farm.
And I think that's what one of your producers kind of brought that full circle back and kind of maybe even lean towards this may be a consumer program just as much as it is a producer type program, because then we can say with assurance, this is how we're doing it, and this is the quality of product you're getting. Right.
And this is a science-based, research-backed program. So we can say with a high degree of confidence when we're talking with consumers that the program is consistent, it's science-based, so we can really provide a lot of compelling evidence to help our consumers understand that these are the decisions being made on the farm, and this is why producers are choosing to do the things that they do. And at the end of the day, I think one of the biggest challenges we have as a beef industry, and this isn't my opinion, you go around the room in one of our board meetings and our producers would say, we have to really get our hands around this consumer conversation and make sure that we're at the table. So this is a real vehicle to help usher that conversation forward, and people just want to know about where their food comes from, and that's what we're here to help deliver.
You're exactly right. When people want to know about where their food comes from, and generally speaking, it's been tested many, many times, people like farmers. And they like to talk to them, and they like to know what they're doing out there. They like to be, engaged in that, and the producers can do that through this beef quality assurance program for them. Hey, Casey, thanks so much for talking with us a little bit. Again, how can we find out more about this program?
Visit iabeef.org or call the office.
iabeef.org. That's where you find out more about what the Beef Quality Assurance Program is all about. Also, some of the other programs that the Iowa Beef Industry Council participates in. And we are talking beef quality assurance today. I mentioned the Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Let's find out more about the coalition.
We're talking with Hope Brecht right now. Hope, I want to visit with you a little bit about some of the things you do here with the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. We've been talking about that folks ought to be making that their first stop when it comes to livestock production here in the state. So how can we get a hold of you folks, and what are some of the programs that we've been talking about?
Yeah, well, some of the great ways to get a hold of us, supportfarmers.com is our website full of all our resources and services that we provide, or you can also give us a call at 800-932-2436. We offer help with siting barns, whether, it's a calving barn, a hog barn, also just finding good locations for those and planting trees around old and new operations, whether it's for smell, windbreaks, neighbor relations.
You have a newsletter you can sign up for as well. One of the more interesting things on your site, too, is if you're looking maybe for a windbreak and you want to talk to someone who knows a little bit about farm windbreaks, because sometimes we're talking more than just half a dozen trees here, you see. We want to put in maybe hundreds of trees, and we need some special expertise to do that. But you have a list of providers you work with as well.
Yes, again, on our website, supportfarmers.com, you go to our Green Farmstead Partnership Program page, and we have a list of nursery professionals around the state that have been trained and have knowledge in planting windbreaks around livestock farms. And you can find out more about that by giving us a call, and we can help get you connected with those professionals.
Supportfarmers.com is the place to start out when you're looking at maybe bringing some folks back into the industry, back into the farm and livestock. Could be a way to do that. So big thank you to the Coalition, our host for the day today. Again, at supportfarmers.com is where you find the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers.
And before we let you go today, a reminder that if you want to find out more about the Beef Quality Assurance Program or any programs from the Iowa Beef Industry Council, you can go to the website iabeef.org, iabeef.org. Well, that wraps up this edition of The Fence Line. The Fence Line is a product of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. My name is Bob Quinn. I'll be talking to you next time along The Fence Line.